I'll turn it over to you, Nick.
Thanks, Leah Sensei. Yeah, welcome everyone to the call. Another community call, and the topic this week is imagination and movement, reshaping our training in the COVID-19 era. So, yeah, particularly want to welcome obviously Leah Sensei and Thomas Christaller Sensei. If you're not too familiar with their background, Leah Sensei is the National Director of Aikido Kenkikai International USA, and she has a headquartered dojo in Los Angeles, where I trained for a year. And you also have a full schedule of classes there, as well as an online virtual dojo. And Thomas Sensei teaches Aikido at the Center for Movement and Art of Living in Bonn, which he founded in 2007. He's worked and studied extensively in the areas of artificial intelligence and neuroscience as well. So that'll add another dimension to the call today. So welcome both of you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's just a very brief little intro. So perhaps we could start with just asking you to expand on that a little bit for people who don't know you, and just say a little bit about, when you started Aikido, what got you hooked into this martial art, and how your practice has developed over the last decades. Leah Sensei, would you like to start with that one?
Sure. I was a competitive horse rider. And then due to various circumstances, I ended up not having access to that anymore. And so I was just looking for some sort of workout. And quite frankly, when I saw Aikido, I thought it was kind of silly looking, but everybody was sweating, having a good time. It was an intense class physically. And I had a 1-month break from university starting the next day. And I thought, well, out of boredom, I'll try this weird martial art, but I'm just going to do it for a month. So anyway, and I guess what got me hooked was really the fact that it's so broad. And by the way, Gretchen, I think you might need to mute yourself as well. Anyway, it's so broad. So, some nights I just wanted a good workout, and so that was guaranteed. Other nights I wanted some, some inspiration on, other areas of my life, inspiration and guidance on other areas of my life. And I could draw parallels between Aikido and those areas. So anyway, and on and on and on, there were just so many aspects to it that benefited my life. And so that's why I didn't quit after my month, after all. And then I long story short, fast forward, I ended up in Japan for nearly 10 years, training with Takeda Shihan intensively. He didn't have a deshi program, so a couple friends and I sort of made one. And just pushed ourselves to always be at training and go above and beyond, and really jump in the deep end and stay there. And then when I came back to the US, I wanted to continue that style. So I realized then it would be up to me to start my own organization if I wanted to continue in that vein, rather than joining another one. So. And then Nick, you had other parts of that question. Did I cover everything, or have I forgotten something?
Yeah, no, that's it.
Got it. All right.
That's great. Thank you. Thomas Sensei, how about you?
Yeah, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. I see quite a few faces here, and I would like to greet you. Yeah, as a boy, I started with sports. With swimming, and I liked that very, very much. And with 14, 15 years, I entered a boarding school in a very small German village, and there was no swimming club, so I had to look for something else, and I started to do gymnastics and acrobatics. And And then I started to do mid-range running. And during my military time, I went into long distance running. And then I started at a university. And at this time, so it was the 70s, jogging was not that known in these days. And I had to run on my own, alone, through the forests. And I didn't like it. And so I looked in the university sports program to find something which fits into my schedule, and figured out it was jiu-jitsu. I did it, and it was a very nice group there. And then I changed the city. I went back to my birthplace, Bonn. And then I wanted to continue jiu-jitsu. And in these days, you had a telephone book, you know, a really analog instrument to look after telephone numbers. And I figured out there was a club which offers jiu-jitsu and something else. And I called them, and they said, yes, you have to go on Tuesday or Friday at 6 o'clock in the evening. I mentioned a gym hall, and it was my former public school, which I visited as a youngster. And I showed up there, and it was not jiu-jitsu, it was Aikido, and I didn't care. So it was also a nice group, and then I started, and still I'm doing it, more than 50 years.
Wow. And what got you hooked into Aikido and not looking around for another martial art?
I think what hooked me was the dynamics. At least in these days, we practice really very dynamically. So a lot of taking breaks and being fast. This was really great. And I had the pleasure to have some very, very good local teachers in Bonn. They used to practice judo, so they had a much greater background in martial arts, and they liked to do koshinage a lot, and kokyonage and so on. So all the breaks taken, and I liked it very much.
Yeah, those hot and sweaty practice sessions at the beginning.
Yes,
all love.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so if we move a little bit more then into the topic of today, which is imagination and movement, reshaping our training in these times. And I know both of you have done just that. You've used your imaginations and you moved your classes online. So I was wondering if you, Thomas, could tell us a little bit about what the challenges have been in doing that and what new opportunities you've found as well.
Yeah, I think everybody of us who is doing or teaching Aikido online, the big thing is there is no partner, there is no physical partner, and you have to overcome that in some way. And I think this is why we choose that title for this talk here, imagination. So you have to imaginate your partner. And in my online classes, I did it in both ways. It was for the Tori part, of course, but also for the Uke part. And this is really demanding if you think about the taking the Uke and doing that without being touched and leaded by the Tori. But this gives you a completely different understanding of the movement as a whole movement. It's a movement of Tori and Uke. It's not just the Tori who is moving, but also the Uke. The Uke gives the Tori the opportunity to do that movement. And doing it the other way around gives you exactly this experience.
Okay, so you're demonstrating both roles in your online classes?
In a way, yes, as far as possible. Of course, often space is reduced for the students. So it's more than a kind of gymnastics what you're doing. So for example, if you do Shihonage, you can do that in this way. So it's a good exercise. If you do this without the tori, so you can move into that and have a good feeling about this. It stretches you, and yeah. So I think this is the way I'm trying that.
And have any other opportunities, new opportunities for learning emerged from your classes so far?
Yeah, actually, I will try when we do the real training again, possibly in the beginning of June. We are allowed to do that. To talk, especially with my Yudansha, that this practicing without a partner is really a very essential part. I remember that we did this in the years earlier, often at a seminar, to do these movements without a partner. And this is what I'm experiencing now is that this is really very helpful. If you do that, for example, on the tori side, that the uke is not hanging on your arms, doing something which you don't expect. So you can really, how should I say, you can really go into that feeling of this movement without any disturbances. Of course, later on, it's essential that you have a partner. It should go with a partner, of course. But it's also for the more advanced students, it's a very, very good experience and a very, very good exercise to do that without a partner. And I will do that further on, even if we do have normal times again.
Wow. Okay, so you as tori, you get the feeling in your own body. The focus is more on the feeling in your own body because you're not being distracted by what's going on with uke as well.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Leah Sensei, what challenges have you faced with your online classes, and what opportunities have emerged?
Well, you know, one of the things that Thomas Sensei mentioned about actually practicing the ukemi, it was so cute, so funny. I'm not only teaching adults classes online, but I'm teaching kids as well. And one of the first kids classes that we had, I had all kids who know Shihonage. So, and I time things all the time so that it's exciting for them. I tell them to count how many rolls they're doing, how many throws, whatever. So I said, okay, katate dori shihonage. And if you've got a parent that wants to train with you, great. If not, if you don't have a partner, pretend that you have a partner. So all the kids who didn't have a partner started practicing the tori side, or I don't know if Americans know the word tori, by the way. A lot of American Aikidoka say nage, the nage side, the tori side. Anyway, all the kids who didn't have a partner started doing just the tori side or the nage side, except for one kid. Started taking ukemi like crazy, throwing himself all over the place. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. Because first of all, mentally, you know, we adults, I've trained with adults who, after they get thrown 4 times, then they stand up and they say, okay, my turn. And I always think, no, that was your turn. The ukemi is like, that's gold. That actually was your turn. If anything is your turn, that was your turn. But anyway, so funny to think of my turn, your turn. But anyway, so that was interesting to hear you, Thomas Sensei, talk about the value of this. And I myself, when I'm teaching in the dojo, I often set people up. I might have done it in your dojo when I visited, but oftentimes, like for a morning class, I'll have, if their knees are okay, I'll have people do swariwaza, but I'll have them sit in seiza, not have their toes tucked under, but seiza actually. And taking the ukemi for shomenuchi ikkyo can be a wonderful stretch in the lower back and the lats. So yeah, there's real value in that. I haven't done it in my online classes, but now after this conversation, I think I will. Um, and then the one of the challenges for me um, is I just miss that collision. You know, that some nights, some nights or days or whatever, some classes, you have a few of those magical ricochets where you're just aligned properly, your partner comes into you, they ricochet off of you perfectly. Other times it's a little bit forced, you know. But so every now and then you get one of those. And that's really a high for me in Aikido. So now not having any collision at all is really a challenge for me. I'm jonesing for that. You know, it's really like, you know, a caffeine addict needing another cup of coffee or something. So that, quite frankly, is a source of frustration for me. Back to opportunities. I've now, some of you may or may not know, I'm adding faculty now to my virtual dojo. So I'm teaching, I guess, five classes a week or 6 classes a week, adults classes. So I guess 5. Anyway, I'm teaching a few adults classes each week. And then I have a 4th Dan in the New York, Philadelphia area who's teaching 3 adults classes per week. And then my senpai in Japan, Numata Sensei, agreed to be a faculty member on my virtual dojo. And he's teaching 3 days a week. We found time slots. Specifically, we were looking, okay, what's a day and time that we can do a class that Americans might be able to to join. Okay, how about Australians? You know, when can they join? And so we built the schedule so that you know, like my Wednesday 10 a.m. Pacific time slot class, the Europeans can join. Anyway, long story short, I only get to train with Numata Sensei usually once every couple of years when I go to Japan or I bring him to the US. Well, now, darn, yeah, I wish I could connect physically with him, but still, I'm training with my senpai. Beautiful Aikido, Aikido. I'm training with him 3 days a week now. So that's quite an opportunity. And I get to see how he is teaching on Zoom as well. So yeah, there are really beautiful opportunities coming from this. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, be able to, as you say, train with teachers who you otherwise would only see, yeah, on a rare occasion.
yep.
Great. So, and you mentioned there a couple of times around, you know, coping with the absence of touch. And I'd like to perhaps bring in Thomas Sensei here, because I know you've done a lot of research around the importance of physical touch to us humans. And so I'd like to ask, you know, what impact do you think social distancing is having, and how long can we maintain it?
Yeah, okay. I think that that humans are social animals. We know that, and we are depending on other humans very, very much. And I think, for example, putting a human into prison without any opportunity to see or hear or touch another human, this is like a death sentence. So we rely on that. We know that babies rely on this very, very much. If you don't do that, they even die from not being touched. And also we adults, normal adults, we do need this, usually daily. Yeah, we need a dose of daily touches from different people, not only from our partner, but also from other people. So, and you see that in different cultures, we have all kinds of embracing and social touching. And so this is very, very important. And if we don't have that, something is really missing. And I've experienced that, especially in Aikido. I learned from my teacher, Nobuyuki Watanabe, that the way we do the social touch is in a very specific way. It has a very specific pressure, and it has a very specific speed by which the body part, usually the hand, is gliding along the body of the other human. And if you get this touch and this pressure and this speed, then usually you relax. Your muscle tone is going down. You even shed out oxytocin, so I think that in a fight, for example, it may break away the pike of the attack. So 10% of the power of the attack is going away by touching the other one in a friendly way.
Yeah.
And you see, for if we are practicing Aikido, I think the touching each another and also feeling the touch of other people on our body is very essential to learn Aikido. And therefore, I think it's if you would have a longer time where we don't have the opportunity to practice with another human, maybe we will lose our feeling for Aikido. So for some time we can do it without a partner. Some weeks, maybe for a month, 2 months perhaps, but I guess 3 months will already be damaging.
Okay, yeah. So longer term, depending on how obviously long this lasts, we may have to relearn our sensitivity. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Leah Sensei, how about, I remember from our classes, you often used to talk about, was it triggering the alarms, or I can't remember your exact expression.
Yeah.
The importance of touch.
Don't trip the alarms, I think I say sometimes. Yeah, so when that touch comes and you brace against it to dominate it, to control it, that trips the alarm in uke, and they tighten up, and then you give yourself even more challenges. But before I continue, Nick, can you repeat the actual question though? Because there's a lot that Thomas said, that Sensei said, that I want to reply to, but I want to address the question.
Sure, yeah, it was about, because of the importance of touch, how long can we maintain social distancing? And maybe you can speak directly to sort of Thomas Sensei's answer there about, do you also feel that we're going to need to relearn our sensitivity if this carries on for maybe the rest of the year? Who knows?
Yeah, very good question. Well, one of the things that I'm doing, a practice of mine now, is I'm trying to do a Facebook Live video every Monday for the different groups that I have, just to support them. I get on Facebook Live and I play with the effects to have funny glasses and a mustache and stuff for the kids group. And I go, hey kids, you're going to help your parents this week, keep up the good work. When they help you, thank them, all that. And I say a little something in there for parents too, parents, you're doing an incredible job, and, can't imagine and the challenges you're facing, things like that, just to keep the community together. And so this past Monday, it hit me that I wanted to talk about resilience and tenacity. And you know, I'm so busy now putting together these new platforms and everything. So it was totally unscripted, but I knew the theme, like, oh yeah, resilience, tenacity, hit the play button and there I am winging it. But anyway, I thought of the quote by O Sensei, be grateful for hardships, setbacks, and even bad people. These are necessary. I don't have the exact words in front of me, but these are necessary elements to practice the art of peace. I'm paraphrasing that second sentence. But anyway, be grateful for hardships, setbacks, bad people. And this, as far as I'm concerned, you know, in most ways, or the biggest view, this is a hardship. And of course, you know, we can look at it with, you know, as glass half full. We can see some positives from this, some opportunities, but basically it's tough for all of us. And so I thought, oh yeah, you know, if you want to build tenacity and resilience, then you need those hardships. And I thought, you know, it's just like lifting weights. You know, if you want to bulk up and get big muscles, then get some heavy weights and that'll help. And then I thought, you know, if you had imaginary weights, you know, it'd be totally different. You wouldn't be able to bulk up as much. And then Thomas Sensei, I thought of you because he has told me, explained to me in the past, and I'm really bad with keeping the his lovely scientific explanation in my head. I don't know the wording, but he has explained to me how the muscles fire, if I'm saying it correctly, and we do get some physical benefit even from visualization practices. I hope I was a good student in the coffee shop when you explained that. And so it was funny as I was giving this live video and saying, like, you know, you need that physical resistance, you know, you get nothing from, and then I thought, oh, I had this other dialogue going on in my head, like maybe there is a little bit of muscular benefit simply to visualizing and moving without that partner. So anyway, then to the other question that you have, Nick, you know, how long can we go without actually losing ground, I guess is what you're saying. And will this damage our Aikido? If we're just talking about and muscle and what was that?
So I was just, yeah, especially in terms of touch, you know, are we losing our sensitivity, or the impact it will have over the long term?
Maybe losing our sensitivity, or maybe getting more sensitive. As far as distance, and I think a lot of people are going to be very sensitive as far as people coming into their sphere. So, but anyway, yeah, in some ways, I think we will lose ground. We'll have to make up for this in some ways. Technique, maybe, maybe, or maybe not. And, and the sensitivity of how to give touch and how to receive the touch and keep our groundedness maybe when we receive touch, because we're not used to it. But in another way, I think we will grow from this. I think we'll be a little bit ahead of the game in our Aikido because of tenacity. This is a bit of a hardship. And then B, I've got people who haven't even been training that long, you know, like a few months or so. And they're thanking me and thanking me and thanking me for these Zoom classes. So I think the appreciation of our training has really increased. People now understand how important it is to them, where maybe before they might have taken it for granted. So I'm hoping that this makes them think about Aikido more during the day and come to class more. And once we get back to the dojo, maybe attendance will be like much better than before. I'm not sure.
Okay. Great. And you mentioned an interesting point there that perhaps actually maybe not touching could make us more sensitive and to each other, and that kind of brought up for me, you know, the 2 meter distancing rule.
Yes.
Feels like it's making me more sensitive when I'm out in a supermarket or wherever in a public place. Just that, like, maintaining that may I, as I kind of calling it as my practice.
Yeah.
So Thomas Sensei, maybe you could talk a little bit around that. Is a social distancing a way for us to actually become more sensitive to each other's energies, and maybe expand a little bit on what Leah Sensei was saying there around the neuroscience of just visualizing the movements and what we're doing, actually what impact that has on our muscles and bodies.
I think that this social distancing is very artificial to our behavior, even in cultures where you usually keep quite a distance from each another. It's an artificial situation, and I think despite the risks we are going if we give it up, this kind of social distancing, for the very reason of the coronavirus, I think we should give it up at some time to go back to our normal behavior, with all the risks, of course.
Okay.
I think so let me say it this way. When nowadays I meet somebody on the street whom I know, the usual tendency, of course, in Germany to greet between men is to shake hands. And I approach this person and reach out with my hand to shake hands. Okay, and this is kind of a behavior this is so deeply in me that to pull back my hand and say, oh, no, it's artificial. And I can't see that we will change this in the long run, and that we win something out of the social distancing.
Okay. Do you think it can make us more sensitive to the movements of each other in these times?
No, I don't think so.
And
I mean, yeah.
Sorry, let me jump in. I saw an article yesterday. It didn't use the word sensitive, actually. It used paranoid. So maybe for a short time at the beginning, when we start to open up more, maybe people will be a bit paranoid. That person's not wearing a mask, or but I'll let you continue on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Maybe I'll just pause there before I ask the next question, because I realized that at the start I didn't set up the Q&A system that we're running. And so I just want to invite anyone on the call, if you have a question that you want to ask Leah Sensei or Thomas Sensei, then please, if you write that in the chat box and just send it to everyone. We're going to stop in about 10 minutes and open the floor up to your questions. So yeah, if you have one, just pop it in the chat box and we can address that at the end.
And I've got Instagram Live going. And so if anybody from Instagram is looking, I think there's a way to send questions via Instagram as well. Yeah, there is. So feel free. Wow, go figure.
Okay, so thank you for your answers so far. And we've been focusing more on Aikido vision and imagination and movement in our training and practice. And I just want to zoom out a little bit now to, think about, a bigger picture of what's going on. And, there are many crises happening around the world at the moment. We've got the current health crisis. Before that, there was a lot of focus on the environmental and ecological crisis. We're starting to see the economic crisis unfolding now. We've got social crises of inequality. So how do you think Aikido can support us in standing up for what we believe in and helping to create a better future? What can you imagine that might come out of these circumstances? Leah Sensei, would you like to start with that?
Sure. Well, Aikido itself, in Aikido, we study how to be strong within ourselves and how to be compassionate. It's a self-defense. And so in a self-defense, you protect yourself, you don't get hurt. But it's so unique in that we also try to protect our attacker. So it's a very considerate practice. It's a practice of consideration, thinking of others and protecting yourself, but protecting everybody. So, all the things that you mentioned, if we had systems in place that had compassion and consideration, then I think we could make more progress in these areas. If we had, governments that, well, and I'm here in the US, so every country's different, but, if we had governments who really could care for the people in a compassionate and considerate way, these things that you mentioned would certainly improve.
Yeah. Yeah. So through our Aikido training, we're actually learning how to, protect others and
care for others, take care of others, and be considerate, and to empathize. Aikido is really a practice of empathy. You don't, and we do 4 and 4 and 4 and 4. So you don't want to abuse your partner, even if you're looking at it from a selfish point of view. Ooh, if I hurt him, maybe he'll hurt me in the next 4 throws. So at all different levels, but even the bottom level is, I better not hurt my partner, because then he might hurt me too, so it's all, and there are tools, there are methods built into this art which teach us exactly that, how to take care of our partner and protect our partner while we're also protecting ourselves.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Thomas Sensei, what are your thoughts?
I agree with you, Leah, that this is one opportunity or possibility in Aikido. But as far as I can see is that you can practice Aikido in a way which is body oriented. It's just about stamina. It's just about being artistic and showing off and so on. And there is no ethical or philosophical background in this. So Aikido in itself doesn't contain this. So it's not the way, I think, that when you practice Aikido, then unavoidably you come up with these ideas you just presented. I think it depends a little bit about yourself.
Actually,
and the value system you have developed by yourself. And then I think Aikido may help you to believe in these values more strongly than you would without Aikido. So you get a feeling that even if you might be in a so-called weaker position or an under position or so, that you just straighten up your backbone and stand your position, and still not in an aggressive way, but I mean, in Germany, Martin Luther was the founder of the Protestantic religion, and there is a saying, and that was, "I'm staying here. I can't." I have first to say it in German. Ich stehe hier und kann nicht anders. So I'm staying here, and I can't do anything else. So, and he said this in the confrontation with biased judges. And he didn't refrain from staying to his sayings and his value system, even in the facing death. Yeah. So and he didn't say. I mean, this is the legend. I think he didn't say it in an aggressive way. He was unable to have a weapon, or so he couldn't fight. But still, he said, "I'm staying here. I can't be at another place, and I'm staying for my values." And if you are already in your personality somehow triggered in such a direction, then I think, depending also on your teacher and the group you are in, Aikido can be very, very, very helpful. Yeah, but Aikido in itself is not the morally or ethical better martial arts system than other ones. And I think you can have the same experience, same support, and same development in other martial arts systems.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to say that you can only get that from Aikido. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
That's important to differentiate, to distinguish. And I liked that you did also mention it depends on the person, but also then you also said the teacher as well. So, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So where you train is a fundamental part of that process. Okay, I'll just ask one more quick question before I hand over. I see there's some questions coming in from people online. So I just want to ask, as we've got Thomas here, and I know he's done a lot of research into artificial intelligence, and you're both teaching Aikido online at the moment. So yeah, I would like to ask you, start with you, Thomas Sensei, do you think that AI is going to make Aikido classes online a permanent thing, a richer experience, and perhaps, the way we'll be practicing in the future?
Yeah, I think this experience doing online classes is very interesting, and I'm thinking of to continue this, even when we are practicing again in the dojo physically together. I can imagine several situations where this may be helpful for students. So if you are, for example, if you are ill, I had an Achilles tendon rupture for some months now, and I couldn't practice anyway. So, or you are on the road, you are away, and then you can practice. Or I think what you, Leah, said before, the exchange between teachers and the exchange between students over geographically distanced dojos can be enhanced. And I think this may be helpful for Aikido as a system, should I say that? So that we see, they are doing it this way, very interesting. And so we can learn that, for example, without traveling to that place, and just accidentally being there and learning something. Okay. I think that there is some opportunities for the future in that.
Yeah, it's a great vehicle for transferring knowledge between dojos and different organizations. Leah Sensei, what do you think about what impacts artificial intelligence could have on Aikido classes in the future?
Ooh, well, first of all, like Thomas Sensei, I plan on, I will most likely continue doing Zoom classes. I don't know whether I'll just, set up the Zoom at the dojo and Zoom my regular classes, or whether I'll have some Zoom classes that'll be separate. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided that. And then really, for all the reasons that Thomas Sensei just mentioned, I think it could be quite valuable. Obviously, I mean, obvious to me and probably my students, I think there is a downside, I mean, I spent years saying like, why are these people watching videos? Go to the dojo and sweat, and now I'm like, watch videos. So, the downside would be these keyboard warriors, I've heard people call them, where, they're so powerful, their martial art prowess is on display when they're sitting at their computer. So hopefully, and only time will tell, I guess, but hopefully people will be inspired by the online activities, inspired enough to make that will make them go to the dojo even more.
Yeah. So yeah, I support.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I thought I'd kind of review some of the questions that are coming up.
Well, yeah, I'm happy to hand over to you, Gretchen, now. Yeah, for the Q&A, I'll leave it in your hands.
I think that's a great segue for, I think Leah Sensei has kind of addressed Amy's question about the plans for how to continue the practice when the doors are open, and what policy or plans that you have for class sizes and this hybridization of this personal versus online aspect. I think that you just addressed that well.
Okay, but I will say a little bit more about that. So was it Amy, did you say? It was Amy was the name?
Yes.
Okay.
Amy
so Amy, thank you for your question. First of all, about 2 or 3 days ago, and I'm getting an echo. I wonder if Gretchen, you need to mute again. I don't know why, but anyway, about 2 or 3 days ago, better. I got the news, or I saw on TV that Los Angeles is going to keep the stay-at-home orders for another 3 months. So I haven't really, I've been so busy developing my virtual dojo and the faculty and the everything, the logistics of it and everything. When I heard that it's going to be another 3 months, I thought, I don't even have time to research what I'm going to need to do to open. But anyway, yeah, I will follow the guidance of the experts, and I could easily imagine that I'll be doing weapons work for the first few weeks or months or whatever. And I could easily imagine that I'll be doing, no touch work where people kind of throw a temi or their feeling or ki in a certain direction, and things like that. I could also certainly imagine that people will be training with masks on, maybe. I saw that in a dojo on Facebook. I saw people in a dojo in Taiwan were doing that just yesterday. And I could imagine easily that I'll have some volunteers at the door taking people's temperatures. But anyway, again, I have no idea. And I'll be following the guidance of the experts when I'm at that point.
Okay, great. And then there's a question here for Thomas Sensei. Do you think that the younger generation will be more reticent to shake hands and hug once we get back to normal, because it's not so deeply embedded in the social behavior? And this is a question from Piers Cook.
Hello, Piers. I think that the how should I say, the body contact while greeting is very much cultural defined. So we know in Japan, there is quite a big distance between people greeting each other when they do not know each other. But you see, even in modern Japan, if the young people greet each other, they embrace. Yeah, they touch each other, and I think this is quite usual, and this will not vanish. It will come back.
Okay, well, thank you. Now, also, Mark V, he has a question about the, in regards to the U.S. Judo Federation. They've issued written out a 4-phase reopening guideline for dojos. Has anyone seen this yet? And if there is comments?
I have not. And Mark, I'm guessing it's Mark Vestrich. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. Mark, if you could send me that, I would love that. That would be great to see.
We have a question from Cuba Films. In Montreal, Canada, we're planning to reopen our dojo practice with only weapons for now. Any advice from either sensei on how to replicate touch or sensitivity using weapons?
Okay, so I think if you would like to ensure that your students are not at a big risk by joining the same space, I think 2 things are important. One is to keep enough distance between each another, and then you should ensure that you let in fresh air regularly, because it seems to be the case that this virus is mostly transported by the so-called aerosol. So very, very small drips of moisture, which we exhale by speaking or just by breathing. So, and if you ensure that the number of virus particles is low enough in the air, then you can practice in the same room. But this, the necessity is keep a distance of 1.5 or 2 meters and bring in fresh air as much as possible. And then everything works. I mean, if you do weapon practice or anything else.
And then the other part of the question, any advice on how to replicate touch or sensitivity using weapons? That's actually a really good question. I was doing Numata Sensei's class the other night, and he had, in one hand, he had a jo, and he started moving the jo towards himself, and then did iriminage on the jo. So the jo was his uke. So that was kind of interesting. That's what comes to mind when I read that second part of the message there from that person.
Yeah. Okay. I can add here an idea. I didn't practice it, but if you have a doll, a puppet or so, or just a how do you say a kid's thing, a bear or something like this, which has arms and legs, so you can use that. And even if it looks funny and like a fake movement, it gives you the feedback into your neural system about the movement you are doing. And it's possibly fun.
Nice.
Okay. I think I've got another question here that from Yuma Robert Hitachi. What are some recommendations you have in respects to studying videos in complement to one's practice? For example, points to focus on, how to reflect on them.
I would say most important thing right away is to watch the feet. I mean, that's whether it's a video or you're there in the dojo with your sensei. We always, it seems to be human nature to watch what the hands are doing. and then we forget to watch what the feet are doing. And remember, one reason for wearing a hakama traditionally was to hide the footwork so that people can't get as good as you. So that's one of the reasons about hakama. But anyway, yeah, watch the footwork. And the other thing to keep in mind when watching videos is, you know, it's easy to think that that certain things are fake. And sometimes when you see someone falling down, it is fake. And other times when you see somebody falling down and it looks fake, it's not fake. So out of those videos where it looks fake, it's hard, and maybe by video, sometimes impossible to figure out which one actually is fake. And maybe you've got a community who can tell you. For example, the person I'm thinking of is Yamaguchi Sensei. So when you see videos of Yamaguchi Sensei, it just looks, oftentimes it looks fake. Like there's no reason that this guy falls down this way or can't get back up or something. You can reach out to people like me and others who have been thrown by Yamaguchi Sensei. And it was freaky. It was freakish. So anyway, that's a huge challenge when you're watching videos. And there are some videos, for example, I've got on my virtual, there's sort of two components on my virtual dojo. One is the live Zoom classes, but the other is like a resource center, video and resource center. I've got about 200 videos, and some of them are broken down into like instructional videos where there's a clip. In fact, Nick, I think, yeah, you were there for the filming of the one. And so there are some tips that I give people. I explain some of the stuff that I'm doing. So those are nice, I find, if you can find videos where an instructor is not just demonstrating things, but actually breaking it down, because video is very different from teaching at a seminar where you can go around and touch people.
May I add a comment on this? Yeah. I think the basic trick when you try to learn from videos is that in your brain, you should imaginate that you move yourself in this movement you are looking at. If you just look, if it's just a processing over the vision system alone, you won't learn it. You won't get the insight of why this person, sorry, of why this person is moving that way and this way. But if you try, I mean, you even, I mean, you can see me now. If I'm doing that kind of movement, you already have an understanding what kind of technique might follow now. You see, if you go into that, not just looking, but just see, it could be iriminage, yeah, it could be kotike eshi, but if you go into the movement itself and feel it in your muscles, yeah, then you get the right feedback out of your body to get the insight in the movement you are looking at. So independently what kind of movie or video you are looking at, try this. And of course, Leah, I agree with you. If you look at somebody like Yamaguchi Sensei, even using this trick, you won't get any idea how he did this. Okay. I'm very sorry. No idea.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we are now at the 11 o'clock or 1 hour in.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, Nick, did you have any closing comments, Nick?
Well, yeah, just to thank everyone who's joined us on the call today, and obviously particularly yourself, Leah Sensei and Thomas Sensei, for answering my questions and everyone else's questions. Yeah, so just to wrap up and say, I hope the senseis have inspired your imagination and practice over the coming weeks, even in these challenging circumstances. And yeah, just remind you that they both have online classes. So if you want to experience their teaching, then I'll post them in the chat box. I can post the links in here so that yeah, if you want to, we'll just do it now. If you want to join one of their online classes, then go to these places.
And we'll be uploading the video, and we can share the link with you. And there was something else. Anyway, we'll send you a follow-up email so that you can watch this video again as well. And I could have sworn there was something else, but it's gone.
Is there another call lined up, or?
Oh, no other call lined up yet. Thank you, Nick. But yeah, let me know, please, if you yourself have something that you think would be a good theme for a call, and if you know some instructor that you would love to have in a call like this, that you could hear more of their thoughts. So let me know, and I'll reach out, or you reach out and tell me, or whatever. So I want to have more of these calls with a variety of instructors. So I'm open to suggestions.
Okay, great. And just one final quick question.
Sorry, I've just seen a question in the chat, and that is if my classes are in German or English. They are in German language, but of course you can correlate the movements with the language. And by the way, learning a little bit of German. So you are invited to look at this. Yeah, I will provide also the link for the Dropbox where the classes are recorded. I gave, and we have also an opportunity for you to join an online class in real time.
Okay, great.
And sorry, one more thing. Nick, thank you for sharing that link of mine, but there's actually a better one that I just put together the other day. So I'm going to put that in the chat along with my name. And the reason that that's better is, yeah, this new link contains information both about my Zoom classes and also my video resource center. So that's the one that I just sent. Oh, it looks like I sent it privately. That doesn't make sense.
I was going to say, yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, let me send it one more time. Everyone, that's what I want. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this, with this link, you can either join my Zoom classes, or you can subscribe to my video resource center for just $15 a month. And now the free trial is extended. Or you can do a package that combines the two of them. So yeah, and then Thomas Sensei's link is in there, right, Nick?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, just above.
Yeah. Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thanks so much again.
Sure.
And yeah, we'll hope to see you again sometime with a new conversation.
Nice, nice. And the four of us, Gretchen, Nick, Thomas Sensei, let's stay on the call, and but we'll ask everybody to check out, and really looking forward to training together with everybody, either virtually or in real life very soon. Please stay healthy. Please stay safe. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Nick. Thank you, Thomas Sensei.
Yeah, great pleasure. Great pleasure to be with you.
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.